Hello, I'm Searcy. Welcome to the final episode of Bred to Win for this season before we kick off the new series of our thoroughbred rehoming program, Thoroughbreds Are Go. Coming up in this week's show, more great breeding backstories from the final day of the Royal Randwick Autumn Carnival. We hear from dynamic and well-liked young industry leader Matt Scown about what's important to younger generations of staff in the breeding game, and Cambridge Stud's Performance of the Week. That's all coming up on this edition of Bred to Win.
The last Group 1 of the season in Sydney and the gates are back. They're off and racing.
The final day of a thrilling Sydney Autumn Racing Carnival threw up more great results for owners and breeders and plenty of horses who'll continue to excite racing fans through the spring.
Jimmy Star, Jolly Star late. It's Priasa in front. Jimmy Star levels up.
The All-Age Stakes was a second Group 1 result for a rising Sprint Star as the two J Stars, Jimmy Star and Jolly Star, fought out the finish. The 5-year-old races in the now well-known Aussie Kier colours and was sourced with Group 1 bloodstock's Matt Becker, who bought Jimmy Star's full brother at last year's NZB Caracas sale. His full sister, Charm Star, is a group winner with their dam, a daughter of very elegant, consistent son of Zabil Zed. Already an Oakley Plate winner, the gelding prepared by Kieran Maher is another elite Australian Group 1 winner by Per Encanto, a son of Street Cry, who stands at New Zealand's Little Avondale stud. Jimmy Star follows on from the likes of Lost and Running Rockin' Horse and this year's George Ryder Stakes winner Gringotts, as well as Blue Diamond winner Little Bros, who now stands alongside his sire.
Nepotism's winding up with a big run on the outside and within the law.
The third leg of the Sydney 2-year-old Triple Crown, the Champagne Stakes over the mile, unearthed another future star in the close relation to Black Caviar, Nepotism. The colt came from last in the distinctive Neil Werrick colours, having been bred by Gilgai Farms' Rick Jamieson. Another elite colt prepared by John Wayne and Michael Hawkes, Nepotism's Dame Brigitte, is a full sister to All Too Hard and half sister to Black Caviar, while dual Group 1 winner Ole Kirk is another close relation, descending from the huge broodmare influence Scandinavia. Nepotism is by the son of O'Reilly Brutal, a Doncaster handicap winner also trained by Team Hawkes and standing at Newgate Farm in the Hunter Valley.
Shangri-La Springs kicking, firm agreement with the final rally.
It was a big day for Arrowfield Stud, with some of their results including part ownership of the Frank Packer Plate winner Shangri-La Spring. He was bred by Arrowfield and sold to Gay Waterhouse Adrian Bott and Bruce Slade through the Magic Millions yearling sale and is from a daughter of Redout's choice, Opportunity. Racing in the colours of the great all-arm mob for Tony Huang, the colt is by Arrowfield's son of Dundeel, Castelvecchio, whose 2025 fee was set recently at $49,500 as sire of the Carnival's exciting ATC Derby winning filly Aliana. The tough Mazu, a son of Arrowfield's Morris, was back to his best, taking out his second Group 3 Hallmark Stakes. A $180,000 English Classic buy fought Triple Crown syndications from Parsons Creek. Morris, one of Japan's most popular racehorses in recent years, has had his fee set for the upcoming spring at $55,000. Two other group winners rounded out the Sydney Autumn as Justify's daughter Lilac won the James Carr Stakes, being from a full sister to Foxwedge, and Bois d'Argent was successful in the JRA Plate. He's by Swettenham Stud, son of High Chaparral, Toronado.
Prestige Schnitzel, a deserved win coming up here.
Returning to Arrowfield's successful day for 4-time champion Australian sire Schnitzel. At Mornington in Victoria at their feature meeting, Prestige Schnitzel won the Mornington Sires from magnificent looking group winner Imposing Lass. Prestige Schnitzel was a $370,000 yearling sold by Silverdale Farm at last year's Inglis Easter sale. Her dams are half sister to stakes winners including Bonham and Full of Spirit. And in New Zealand, the listed Starway Stakes was another success for a daughter of Schnitzel with Little Black Dress, another from an elite dam line. She's from Star Fashion, a group-winning daughter of Hong Kong Derby-winning filly Elegant Fashion, who descends from Queen Elizabeth's breed-shaping broodmare Highclere. Little Black Dress was in the Arrowfield draft at last year's Inglis Easter sale, bought for $240,000 by Go Bloodstock for Sir Owen Glenn and Blandford Bloodstock. Schnitzel was recently announced by Arrowfield as remaining at the same fee of $247,500 for the 2025 season, while Coolmore Stud was also conscious of keeping the majority of its roster at the same fee or a lower price. Coolmore will this year welcome the previously announced Switzerland and City of Troy, but have added 2024 Caulfield Guineas winner Private Life, with the son of Written Tycoon to stand at a fee of $19,250.
But here is the classic win, and the filly stamps herself as the best in the West.
And at Ascot in Perth, it was another filly who took out the Group 2 West Australian Derby with Machine Gun Gracie, too good for the boys. She's by Machino from Written Tycoon mare Gracie May and is already the winner of the WA Oaks and Natasha Stakes. Machine Gun Gracie was sold for $45,000 in the Scenic Lodge draft at the Perth Magic Millions to John Chalmers and her trainer Justine Erklands, and is a relation to this season's VRC Oaks runner-up Powers of Opal. The giant filly sire Machino is by Encosta de Lago from Dean Fleming's multiple stakes winner Tani Girl. He stands at Alwyn Park Stud at Serpentine in WA and was himself a winner of the Group 3 Peters Stakes during his racing career. And finally, being Easter weekend, Good Friday was again a great showcase of hundreds of off-track thoroughbreds at the Sydney Royal Easter Show. The Best Thoroughbred exhibit, sponsored by Widden Stud, and the Crane Trophy for mares, sponsored by Inglis, were both won by a daughter of Morris, Regalia, from a German-bred daughter of Monson, Extravaganza. The mare's racing name was Aunt Bridge, and she was ridden by Ali Kent, wife of trainer Mick Kent Jr. The Pope Cup for Geldings was sponsored by Thoroughbred Breeders Australia and won by Regal Replica. His sire, Regal Banquet, is by King's Best and is a grandson of Vaindara, while the winner's dam Comely Look is a granddaughter of Encosta de Lago's sire, Fairy King. We'll have a longer story on the thoroughbred classes with guest judge Gary Portelli and his partner Renee Dorney next week on the return of Thoroughbreds Argo. Coming up after the break, we hear from the engaging and experienced Matt Scown on leadership in the thoroughbred breeding industry. Welcome back to Bred to Win. Matt Scown has the type of job that would be the envy of any newcomer to the breeding industry. He's engaging, thoughtful and highly experienced, and he shows all of that and more in his role with the Mitchell family's Yarraman Park Stud, working with elite stallions such as the champion I Am Invincible and his offspring. And he has some great advice for younger generations coming through. It's really interesting as far as, Bred to Win is concerned, to showcase a lot of not only the horses on these magnificent properties, but also the humans and how they've come to be working in the roles they're in. So you've been here at Yarraman Park. Obviously this is your second time around here, yep. But it's one of the elite farms around the world, really. Tell us a bit about your backstory though, because you've worked for Inglis, you've worked overseas, you've done courses. Just give us a bit of a synopsis.
It all started at a very young age. My grandfather was a breeder, only had sort of 5 or 6 mares on a farm down the road from Pincarrow Stud in Cambridge, New Zealand. So I just started to muck around at home with the mares and foals, and you know pretty well instantaneously whether you love the industry or not, and I fell in love with it. Went to the races, gained a lot of experience just at home. That sort of encouraged me to get a part-time job both at Chriswood Racing when I was 14 and the Oak Stud in Cambridge, and I was offered a full-time job when I left school when I was 16 at the Oak Stud, and I took that on, and then 2 years later, I end up in Ireland working for Ballylynch Stud and with the mares and foals and in the stallion barn. So Rick Williams opened a lot of doors for me at the Oak Stud, and he got me started. And when I returned from Ballylynch Stud, I applied for the Sunline Scholarship, which is international. It's sort of a miniature flying start. That took me when I was 20 years old. It took me overseas, and I worked at Cheveley Park in England, followed by Coolmore Stud in Ireland, and TaylorMade in Kentucky and in the States. So it opened a lot of doors for me. I worked very hard during those times because I had to make the most of it, as every young person would. And it sort of paid off in dividends to end up where I'm at now. And a big thing I found when I got home from the States, so I worked another year at the Oak Stud, but I found, obviously leaving school early, that I wanted to sort of brush up on that. So I took myself back to University of Waikato for 12 months. And there I just did a certificate in business management, which was 7 first-year papers in the likes of accounting, marketing, communications, and law. I really enjoyed that time there, and I actually enjoyed getting back to school just to learn, because I was very passionate and I knew what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do was achieve at the highest level in the thoroughbred industry. The places that this industry can take you internationally, wherever you want to go, it's phenomenal, and it opened doors for me that I'll be appreciative for the rest of my life. And soon after, when I was 21, I moved to Yarraman Park Stud, and I was actually here for the first yearlings to be sold by I'm Invincible. It's been a great road, and in between I've had the opportunity to work for Inglis as a bloodstock consultant, and they offered me a lot of opportunities, so I'm forever grateful to everyone at Inglis for offering me Hong Kong to look after in my first year, which was fantastic. I was very driven and I wanted opportunity, and they gave it to me. 2 years later, speaking to Harry and Arthur, they were looking for sort of someone to oversee and manage the farm, and I thought that was a great opportunity for me to come back and effectively come home. I see this as home now. You're effectively part of the family when you work here, and it's great. I'm very lucky, and I've been mentored by some of the best in the industry, I feel. Both Harry and Arthur Mitchell put a lot of time into me. John Foote and obviously Rick Williams, and it's opened doors. And my father's one of the most important people in my life, and he's always guided me, the ways I wanted to go. He's never been involved in the horse industry. He was really encouraging for me to continue with it, because it is a passion and it's something I love, and it's something I know will be in my life for the rest of my life.
We'll talk in a minute about being a young person in the industry and how important it is to have the goals and to really work hard. But it's also really important for an employer, and it's good for staff to know this, for an employer to have staff they rely on, because it's really hard sometimes to find the staff that you actually can put your faith into. But from their point of view, I'm sure they would be, might not say it every day, but they would be rewarded by having put that time into you.
Absolutely, and young people, I know for one, I'll never ever forget the opportunities that these people have all given me, everyone I've mentioned. It's allowed me to travel the world, and I get to work with horses everywhere I go. It's such an amazing industry. My advice probably to young people coming through is just keep open, work very hard. The hours are long and it's a time-consuming industry, but it can reward you, and it's an industry we love. So when you put the time in, you're going to be rewarded in the long run. I'm fortunate to be surrounded by some of the best horse flesh in the country, and it's something I love, and something that I'd encourage any young person to dip their toe in, because I think they'll feel the same way as I do.
It's that thing, isn't it? I mean, you hear in any industry, younger people sort of saying, oh, I don't want to do overtime, or I don't want to do, but I mean, you would have lost count of the amount of, if you were clocking on it for overtime, like seriously, you, in this industry, you just can't measure it. You just do the job that needs to be done. And that's how you will wind up in a place where you're respected as well.
Absolutely. I think it's very important to put in the hours. Don't be a clock watcher, because it will take you the whole way, and it'll offer opportunity that you'll never live down. And it's a great industry for that. It is time consuming, but You know, for the love of the horses, for the love of the game. It's a very important part of my life, and it could be a very important part of a lot of young people's life if they give it a go.
What are the most important things to you now, because you're now a mentor for younger staff coming through, what do you think are the most important things that you try and impart in them?
Good question. I think a very strong work ethic would be number one, and integrity. I think those are the two most important things, especially in this game, that if you show both of those, it's going to be very well noticed. And I know that for one, that, you know, I worked hard and I showed integrity and I was always very honest, and that's taken me all the way to where I want to be today. So I think those are the two most important things that people need to keep in mind.
Do you see a difference? I mean, you know, you're sort of, you know, as I said, you're not in your 50s, you're not in your 20s, but do you see a difference in some of the young sort of 20-year-olds coming through from when you were younger? Or do you think it's just every generation there are going to be some people that will do the work and some that won't?
That's right. I think obviously everyone's different, and what I have found is if the particular people that come onto this farm or wherever I see them out at yearling sales or broodmare sales, and if they love the horse, if they love the game, if they love the thoroughbred industry, I find that they work 100% harder than the person that's just there to clock up the hours. I think it's a passion industry. It's driven my passion for it, and those people that show that work ethic to put that extra effort in, they're rewarded.
What's the day-to-day routine for Matt Scown here at Yarraman Park?
Day to day, we like to start early. But I like to start, and you know, I like to read the news and find out what's going on, both domestically and around the world. So ANZ and TTR and BreedNet always get read with a nice morning cup of coffee, and then either myself and Harry or myself and Arthur will go and feed either all the yearlings or all the mares and foals or all the spellers. We like to keep in touch with all the stock on the farm, and to do so is obviously very plain and simple. You go out and you look at them, and when the first foals drop, you already start looking at different matings for particular mares and whether it's worked, what you've done, or whether you need to change something. And I think keeping in front of the horse the whole time, as opposed to being office bound, where I'm fortunate enough in my position, I can spend 50% of my time on the farm, 50% of my time in the office. After all that's said and done, I like to come around and see all the staff, and obviously our level of management, from Michael, who looks after the stallions, to Lance, who runs all the spellers and the yearlings, and Anna, who runs all the mares, and Lena, who does the foaling. We've got an excellent core group of staff. They've got their finger on the pulse over everything. And for me, it's they make my life very easy. So I just check in and give a hand where needed, and I'm on the phone most of the day, but it's part of the job, and I love it.
We've seen some more courses and things being sort of introduced within Australia, like TBA with their fast track and their graduate course, and Thoroughbred Breeders New South Wales had Thoroughly Schooled and some other courses, and you know there are others in different states as well. But what would you say to people that are just thinking, oh, I don't know anything about the industry, where the hell do I start? Some of those are good though, aren't they, to actually give you a bit of a head start?
I think so. I think I was fortunate enough to experience one of the best courses out of New Zealand with the Sunline Scholarship, and it really opened your eyes. You know, whether it be domestically with TAFE New South Wales, or you get to go on the international ones like the English or Irish National Start or Sunline Scholarship, or you know, to the top of the Flying Start. I think there's a lot of money being invested into the young people, and I think it's really important that if you are a young person and you don't know how to get into this industry, I think you can utilize those programs, because all you need to do is send an email, get in touch. We need young people constantly coming through in this industry, and if someone doesn't know how to sort of get the ball rolling, those are great people to get in touch with, because they're always in touch with the stud farms, the racing stables, and they can point you in the right direction. So even if you're immediately not utilising those courses, utilise the people involved in the courses. We're in it to ensure this is a industry that constantly improves, and through improvement comes the young people that back it. So I think it's very important to keep those running.
For you, I guess, how do you sum it up? You know, you're working with Vinny and you're working with these incredible multiple Group 1 winning and producing mares. It is the stuff of dreams, isn't it? When you follow the industry and you love racing and the horses themselves, This is just a dream job to have, isn't it?
Absolutely. Working for great people, the best people I've ever worked for, such as the Mitchell family, and working on a farm as beautiful as this, surrounded by elite stock. But it's not only that, we're fortunate enough to have great people around us. We're with each other from 6 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon, and most of the staff on the farm live together or live in very close proximity. So we're very lucky because I really get along with all the staff here, and all the staff here get along with each other, and to be surrounded by the horses is just a massive bonus. And so yeah, we're very fortunate here at Yarraman.
A wise head on young shoulders, and thanks to Matt Scown for his time with Bred to Win. Coming up on the final episode of the show for this season, the Cambridge Stud Performance of the Week.
Late run Kiwi Skyhawk right through the centre.
The Cambridge Stud Performance of the Week came in New Zealand's feature weekend race, the Trelawney Stud Championship Stakes at Ellerslie. The winner, Kiwi Skyhawk, is by contributor from Dubawi mare Powter and is a half-brother to Australian Stakes winner Rock Dove. The 3-year-old was sold by Cambridge Stud to trainers Stephen Marsh and Dylan Johnson Bloodstock for $240,000 at the 2023 NZB Caracas sale. And the runner-up in the Kiwi feature, Zormella, is by Cambridge Stud sire Al Manzoor, who's now domiciled permanently at the historic NZ Stud Farm. That is Bred to Win for this season. Thanks to all our sponsors and the farms who've supported the show. We'll be back in the spring with some profiles of new stallions looking back on their racetrack exploits. And don't miss next week when we resume Thoroughbreds Are Go, our thoroughbred rehoming show, helping owners find the best new homes for their ex-racehorses and breeding stock, and helping those who take them on care for this wonderful breed. I'm Caroline Searcy. I look forward to seeing you then.